Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how I did this patch on my thumbnail, and I just had a little tear and the patch is going to reinforce it and also keep it from getting caught on anything. And the products that I'm using, I'm going to start out with these silk wraps from Sally's. These are self-adhesive, and when you open up the package, inside you're going to find basically this assortment of strips, so that if you're patching your entire nail, you can pick the one that's the right width for your nail, or if you're just going to use a smaller one, you can use a nail scissors and just cut a piece as big as you need, which is what I did. And then I find it easier to apply the patch to my nail with a tweezer, just because they are adhesive, and with the tweezer you can just grab onto a corner of it and not get it stuck to your finger. To keep the wrap on my nail for adhesive, I'm going to be using this IBD brush-on gel resin, and I prefer the gel resin over just a normal nail glue because it seems to stand up better with my normal polish remover, which does have acetone in it. To remove the patch, I use 100% acetone, but with just a normal nail polish, I can usually get my patch to last like 2 weeks or more, and I usually do my nails several times a week. So that's why I prefer the gel resin. You could use a regular nail glue and then just use a non-acetone polish remover. And I'm also going to be using this four-sided nail buffer to smooth out the patch. And I got all these supplies just at Sally Beauty. I'm sure you can pick them up other locations or use other brands. I've even seen where people will use just a piece of a tea bag rather than a real silk patch. So I hope this helps any of you guys out that might be dealing with a break, and stay tuned. Alright, so we're going to get started here, and I'm not sure if the camera's picking up, but the tear is right about there, right at the beginning of my free edge. And the first step is going to be to buff the nail so that it's smooth, and I've already completed that step, so the next thing is to make sure it's completely clean. And I'm just going to take a Q-tip dipped in polish remover, and just to make sure that there's no residue, no oil from your skin, anything like that. And then I've got a piece of the silk wrap that I've already cut into a small piece that'll fit over the tear, and just because I find it easier, I'm going to go ahead and peel that off the backing with a pair of tweezers, and then with that pair of tweezers, position it over the tear, getting as close to the edge of the nail as possible, and then just pressing that down with my finger. So you can see that it's covering the tear. If you have a larger break, or like if you're using this for peeling at the tip of your nail, you can cover the entire tip of your nail or even your whole nail. But since I'm just working with a little tear, I'm just going to mainly cover the area where the tear is. I'm going to trim some of the excess off with my little pair of nail scissors, and then I'm going to open up my little bottle of gel resin, and you can just use a very light touch with this. You don't need very much, and the thinner and more even of a coat you can manage, the faster it'll dry. So I'm just going to go over the silk patch and then go over it one more time just to kind of clean off any excess, and like I said, keep it as thin of a layer as possible. Mainly just going over where the silk wrap is, but you can go a little bit over on all sides. And now we're going to let this dry. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so our first coat of gel has dried. It's been about 5 minutes, and you can test it by kind of touching the edge up here, and you can feel that it's hard. I'm going to, at this point, file off this excess. I'm using the blue side of the nail buffing thing, and just go gently along the outside edge of your nail. You're not trying to file the nail, you're just trying to get that little bit of silk patch off of there. And almost got it all off there. You can see it kind of will come off in little chunks. And just smooth out the edge. Like I said, I'm using the blue side here as best as possible. And I'm sorry if this is a little awkward. Again, this is a weird angle for me. But now that we've got that off, I'm going to do another layer of the gel resin. And as with the first layer, just going to get this as smooth and thin and even as possible. The only difference is I'm going to do just a little on the free edge to kind of seal it with the free edge of my natural nail, and I found that that helps to prevent it from lifting when you're wearing it for a long period of time. And once you've got that nice and even and smooth, it's time to wait for it to dry again. It does take a little bit longer for the second coat to dry. You know, there's probably other products that dry quicker, or other tricks you can use to make it dry quicker, but I don't have to do this very often, and I'm happy with the products that I'm using. So, be right back again. Okay, so our second layer is dry now. The amount of time that it takes to dry can vary depending on, you know, if it's really humid where you are, or how thick or thin your layer of gel is. This took me about half an hour. And the main thing is to be really patient, because the next step is going to be to file, well, not file, to buff the top until it's smooth. And if you just run your finger over it, you can feel, you know, it's not really rough, but if you were to do a manicure over it at this point, you definitely would be able to tell that there's a patch under it. For this step, I'm going to be using the pink side of my 4-way nail buffer, and I'm just going to go around the edges and over the top, concentrating on kind of where my seams are. And if you have trouble buffing, you know, that's another reason you might want to do a patch over the whole nail. Then you wouldn't have, you know, the seam like I have here and here. But it really doesn't take very much buffing, and it will just smooth all of the patch out to the point where you won't even be able to tell that it's on there underneath your nail polish. And just keep feeling with your finger, and if you feel a rough spot, just go over it again with the buffer. I feel like I have to be missing something, but I can't really think of anything else to say right now. Other than I am going to link the step-by-step that I've had up on my blog down in the information box, so you may want to check that out. I probably have some tips on there that I'm forgetting to mention, but just wanted to show you guys how I do my patch, how I deal with my nails when they're being less than perfect. And thank all you guys for your comments on my nails and for subscribing and watching and all that stuff. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm about to do a water marble after this, so stay tuned for that to be up shortly also. Thanks for watching and subscribing.